Let's talk about approaching your next conversion rate optimization project in a more systematic way that reflects better on the knowledge you need to write copy that converts, but also delivers better conversion. You want more leads, you want more sales. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's copywriting tips. Now, again, you may not do conversion rate optimization, you may hire an outside team, but this is what you're going to be looking for. Now, this is better suited with a diagram, so I put together a free diagram that is going to be available to you if you contact us at the website www.adbriefings.co.uk. Just go to the contact page and ask for the optimization groups diagram, and I'll get that out to you. But first, I want you to listen carefully. Close your eyes, relax. If you're in a car, just pay attention. There are three key levels of optimization that can be done, and each of these levels have different measures and places. So, for example, the first level is in the public. It's out there. You're going to use tools like Google Search Console, or you're going to use Bing Webmaster. And these are what's going on in the organic search engines, what's going on in the general traffic world. This is what a lot of people call organic traffic. Now, there are two other levels. We'll get to them, but it's a huge mistake for you to go out there and chase backlinks and search optimization and such without having a way of measuring the two key factors that you can see at this consolidated point. The reason we're able to optimize so quickly is rather than chasing, Instagram, 5 different types of search engines, 10 different types of social media platforms, is what we do is we force the analytics into a funnel, and so that we can measure at that funnel. So it could be Facebook business analytics that you're looking at here, but this is the key is this is a public site. Now, because it's in the public and you don't control the media, you want to know how many people have seen your content and how many people clicked into your content. This public area is used for testing of headlines, hooks, and other nuances, as well as audience matching, because you can promote out here in the public, pay per click, for example. Now, what's important is because you have a lot of different platforms. If you have analytics on Facebook and you have analytics on Google Search Console and analytics on Bing Webmaster and all these things telling you where you're seen. Again, notice I didn't say anything about search ranking. I don't really care about search ranking. All I care about is what content generates a behavioral change. This is very important. I don't care if we're ranked number 20 on a Google search result. If it's showing up as number 20 and it's getting a certain number of impressions and it's not getting any clicks, then we need to test the headline. We need to work with other functions. If you are ranked number 1, yes, you'll get more traffic. But again, we don't want traffic. We want buyers to our website. Now, Rich Sheffron talked about this in a couple of his programs. You want buyers. You want people at your website that are predisposed to purchase from you over anybody else. You don't want people who just search for DIY content. You don't want people who are out there just wandering around the internet. Remember, we're not selling advertising. We're selling complex technical services. So if you're selling your own marketing services, the customer needs to understand a little bit more about that than just the 5 tricks you can do to increase your page views, because page views don't mean anything. But we're talking about the optimization groups here. We're talking about how to approach this ecosystem of diverse measures and improve the performance per platform. Now, the Google Search Console is going to tell you what Google already thinks about your website. And again, we're going with nuances here. If you want to speak specifically about the details, you request this optimization group diagram, and then we can sit down and map your business against this diagram. Now, what we're doing here is we're knowing how many impressions there were, how many clicks. We know what pages got these impressions. We know what keywords got these impressions. There's 2 sets of measures there. And then we were look at extracting best practices. Now, we want best practices that work on the majority of platforms, because we don't want to have to go around and optimize for Google and optimize for Bing and optimize for the foreign search engines and new search engines and old search engines. I remember the days there were Alta Vista and Yahoo. Search engines do change, they modify their algorithms. If we're measuring based on human behavior, then it doesn't matter if they see that headline on Google or they see that headline on Bing, they are going to click as a high probability because we've tested those things. Now, here's what's important. As soon as artificial intelligence gets in, they're just going to scrape your content and answer questions for people. So we want to focus on content, and we have a whole program on content marketing, but we want to focus on content that positions you as an expert, whether or not they ever make it to your website. Let's talk about that next tier. It's called the private tier. The private tier is your content management systems, whether it be your WordPress, it could be, for example, we use Spreaker for the podcasts, and then this is some syndication. So private in the sense that you can control the interaction better. You know more about the impressions, but you also know about how many people subscribed, how many people became leads, how many people can have that repeat contact. See, out on the public platform, you don't have any hook for that person to invite them back other than to produce additional content. But if you get in the content trap of producing content, it's good for you as a copywriter to produce a lot of content for somebody, but it's not good for the client if that content doesn't convert. And so if you understand these things, you'll say, hey, look, in this private sphere, we're not as worried about clicks anymore. We're worried about leads. Can we contact this person again? Yes, they've shown interest by liking, but have they subscribed so we can invite them back? More importantly, have they become leads? Now, these leads could be co-op leads, so they're not necessarily generated on your own website. They could be leads generated by a third-party platform like ClickFunnels. And by the way, all of these things I mentioned are not going to exist in 5 or 10 years. It's just the way things work. They'll change, they'll modify, but the key is it's private in the sense that you can see analytics and control a list. There's some privacy associated with it because those people who opt into your list could be on Substack. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. Wherever they opt in, you can follow up with them. Now, that's the private tier. The next tier is the internal tier. These are leads and sales that we're measuring because it doesn't matter if you get a lot of impressions if they're not doing anything useful. Now, back in the world where the advertising agencies are tricking their customers to believe that impressions, engagement, and views are worth anything, they aren't measuring what really matters. It's the lead and the sale. The leads you generate on your internal media. And this is measured by Google Analytics. And by the way, we can make Google Analytics measure this other stuff so that we can further centralize our optimization approach. We can further see our stats in one place. But this could also be the behind the scenes in your WordPress content management. It could be a membership site. It could be an opt-in that allows them access to private content. It also could be your HubSpot or Salesforce customer relationship management system, where now we're tagging the person so that we can do audience matching, so that we can register the leads through Facebook. Actually, this morning I was using HubSpot and a bunch of leads came in through Facebook and it registered the leads in Facebook through marketing automation. And I could see on my leads report, I could see that we had X number of leads, X number of sales. And it's just there. It's just done, but that's all internal to our business. It's not something that an outsider can look at. It's something that's internal and we can optimize that independently. Now, I've given you 3 tiers of optimization. Each have their own approach for measurement. Each have their own clear objectives. Together, it forms a large sales pipeline, very open at the top on the public side, very narrow at the bottom on the internal side, which it could include an e-commerce platform. But again, it's transactionally internal to your business. Where do we start the measures to know where we should focus our effort? Because again, there are hundreds of social media platforms, video sharing platforms, search engine platforms. If you're trying to optimize for all of them, you're going to go crazy. It's just too much. Where do we start? Well, we start by having our conversion tracking as clean as possible so that we can go from our accounting system, which is as internal as you can get, all the way back to our demand generation in our front end. What do I mean by that? We are measuring what produces sales. So if you have no sales in your business, what you're going to focus on is finding a list and going directly to that list to make offers so that you can generate leads. And then as you're generating those leads, you can start figuring out where those leads are in these tiers and then start optimizing from there. You need the lead at a minimum to know whether or not your content and copy is producing a behavioral change. Now, remember, when people search, they don't just look at one site, they look at 5 or 6 sites. So when you land on your site, now they're jumping from the public to the private. They might jump from the public all the way down to internal if you are syndicating your catalog items. However, they will be within one of these tiers for the moment of interaction. If you're tracking it properly, you'll be able to boost those interactions in that tier, but it only matters to boost the things that generate sales. So if someone comes from the Google search engine, if you have an equal number of traffic from Google and Bing, and the people who come from Google never buy your products and services, then you wouldn't focus a lot of energy on optimizing that platform. You would instead follow up with the leads and sales that you've got, but go to the platform that's producing leads and sales. Because the improvements you make on that one platform, because you could be shadow banned, for example. You could be on their crap list and they don't like you, and but these other platforms are sending traffic. It could be a joint venture partner that's part of your private network of relationships, maybe an affiliate program. And so you have 15 affiliates all generating the same amount of traffic, but some affiliates convert better than others. You want to look at the ones that are converting, not the ones that are not converting. So marketing really is about math and psychology, but we focus on the success math and then we validate the successes with the statistical probability of being able to repeat. And if we start with our sales system, we can find out whether or not we have a really good offer, because you can get thousands and millions of people to your website. And if you don't have a good offer, then it's going to be a frustration. So do you understand what I'm saying here? There's a map of 3 tiers. Each tier has specific core measures that measure behavior. Yes, there are lots of other measures you can measure. There are a lot of other things that you can look at, and those things do have value from time to time. But if you're not looking at these key measures, which are behavioral measures, you're going to miss out what we can do to adopt and adapt behaviors. Next to those 3 tiers, you'll have the different platforms that you're connecting with. It is okay to focus on 1 or 2 platforms and get those built up so that we basically have an A/B split. And then when you have best practices, sometimes on a per platform basis, that's just the reality of marketing today. You will be able to write the copy that works best in which platform. But with automation tools, with consoles and management tools, you can very often talk to 4 or 5 platforms at the same time. So you can, again, inventory the platforms, match them with the optimization group, focus on the things that matter there, and then now put those in a spreadsheet. And now we're able to compare across groups, even though they have different analytics tools. Now we have to, as long as the period is the same, it'll be okay. But we have to understand that these groups are not. So 1,000 visitors from the Google search engine could be equivalent to 500 users from a Bing search engine, because the platforms have different volumes. So we're looking again, starting at the sales in your accounting system, working our way back to the leads, then working our way to leads in other platforms, then working out to impressions in a general market. Because again, once you know who your buyer is, you could simply go pay per click. You could simply go rent a list. You could simply go find joint venture partners. We teach a cold prospecting system that works pretty well, especially for high ticket items. You don't have to sit around and wait for these public platforms to bless you with traffic. Especially with the political climate today, some of these platforms may not decide to bless you with traffic, and then you're going to be stuck in an environment where you do not get the sales and leads that you want. Would you rather be someplace where we're accurately measuring in a systematic way, generating sales, understand the specific measurables to make things move, and that the environment is not static, yet getting results, extracting from these public networks the people who want to buy and subscribe and to be a part of what it is that you have to offer? Now, again, this can be a complex topic, and maybe a diagram makes it easier, but I wanted to lay this out in a logical way so that you can be drawing this while you're taking notes. And then when you contact the website at www.adbriefings.co.uk and ask for, on the contact page, the optimization groups diagram, I will just send you a PDF file so that you can see this in action. Plus, I'll give you a little bit of guidance about how you can do this exercise with your client so that you can really start helping them optimize. Because again, the copy that you put on Facebook is going to be different than the copy you put on LinkedIn. You can send the same copy across all these platforms, but again, like for example, LinkedIn lets you do a little longer copy. Facebook lets you do a little longer copy. However, they both let you do short copy, but in different ways. Anyway, conversion rate optimization is powerful. If your client is not measuring these things, or they have an ad hoc, haphazard way of approaching their analytics, they will not know what copy of yours works and which copy doesn't. If you like to work with somebody who can provide you white label services, that means you can leverage our team and generate passive income for your freelance business, for your small agency, then contact us at www.adbriefings.co.uk and ask about that, because we can either teach your team how to do this or we can do it for you. But again, if the customer can't measure, if they're running around having you write content for keywords, and next thing you know, they got a boatload of content but no customers, then they're going to run out of money and they're not going to be able to keep hiring you. We're about that accountability. We're about that direct response. We're about that target audience, and it's measurable. It creates millions and millions of dollars for clients, and it can help you do the same for your clients and your business. Thanks for listening. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefings Copywriting Tips, where we talk about the business of copy and your ability to create more sales with words that sell.